Welcome to Tech News Briefing. It's Friday, September 22nd. I'm Zoe Thomas for The Wall Street Journal. In the US and Europe, politicians have raised concerns about how TikTok could be linked to espionage. They claim the company's Beijing-based parent company ByteDance could be forced to share information with the Chinese government, something the company has said it would not do. Now, the social media platform is also facing criticism in Africa over the kind of content it shows to users. And while the reasons for concern are different, the impact could be the same. Bans. Here to discuss what TikTok is facing in Africa and what it means for the company's business is our reporter Alexandra Wexler. Alexandra, we've talked a lot about bans in the US and Europe before. Where in Africa is it facing bans?
So at the moment, TikTok is having trouble in Senegal in West Africa and Somalia and Kenya in East Africa. Senegal is the only country so far that's actually enacted and enforced a ban. Somalia has announced a ban but has not actually implemented it. And Kenya is discussing it, where a private citizen has actually petitioned the government to ban the app in the country.
What are African governments concerned about with TikTok?
In Kenya, there are concerns over sexually explicit content where users are using TikTok, basically filming themselves having sex or sexual acts and soliciting. And in Somalia, the concern is more around terrorism. The terrorist group Al-Shabaab uses TikTok in Somalia, and there are concerns about violent extremism. And then in Senegal, the government in Senegal blocked TikTok, some say in an attempt to silence government critics. And the Senegalese government is saying it's because of hateful and subversive messages. So they're all a little bit different from what's going on in the US at the moment.
And all a little bit different from each other. But I want to narrow in on Kenya, where you said one citizen petitioned Parliament to ban TikTok. Can you tell us how that came about and where things stand with that effort?
Yes, Kenya is a little bit different. In August, a Kenyan businessman petitioned Parliament to ban the app in the country. He said that he believed TikTok was eroding Kenyan culture and religion, specifically mentioned the sexual content on the app late at night, and that it was degrading women and wasn't good for children. So basically, the parliamentary speaker asked a committee to look into the idea. And that's when TikTok reached out to the president of Kenya and set up a meeting between him and TikTok's chief executive, who's based in Singapore. It was a video call.
What has TikTok said about that?
So TikTok said that there had been a meeting that was set up and delayed several times, but that this meeting was basically centered on this petition because that was what was going on at the time. And TikTok said it had committed more resources to doing content moderation in the country, hiring more Kenyans, and then also to helping Kenyans make more money off of TikTok.
Is TikTok taking similar steps or tailored steps to address bans in other African nations?
So TikTok says that it very often reaches out to various African governments, whether they're facing bans or there's some kind of issue in that country or just as a routine matter of business. So TikTok has said that in Africa at the moment, in the countries that it's facing these bans, in Senegal, has not received any communication from the government about the ban. But in Somalia, it is engaging with the government at the moment, and that's the country where the ban has yet to be enforced.
How big a deal is Africa to TikTok's overall business?
So TikTok wouldn't disclose how many users they have in Africa. But Africa is a very young continent, actually the world's youngest continent. And TikTok is particularly popular amongst young people. So it would be logical to assume that Africa is either already a very big market for TikTok or potentially a very big market for TikTok, especially because of the mobile phone penetration and internet penetration on the continent and how quickly that's growing and how big the penetration is.
You know, Alexandra, TikTok has said it's unprofitable partly because it's spending a ton of money to try and silo its US and European operations. So, what does it mean if it starts facing bans in these African countries that could be very important to its operations overall?
It's definitely not a good thing. Look, I would be very, very surprised if they were spending as much money fighting bans in these African countries as they are around this potential ban in the US. But they seem keen to not have African countries or regions starting a domino or a snowball effect that then spreads across more of the continent.
That was our reporter, Alexandra Wexler. And that's it for Tech News Briefing. Today's show was produced by Julie Chang. I'm your host, Zoe Thomas. Our supervising producer is Melanie Roy. Our development producer is Aisha Al-Muslim. Our deputy editors are Scott Salloway and Chris Dinsley, and Philana Patterson is the Wall Street Journal's head of news audio. We'll be back with a new show on Monday. Thanks for listening.